I'm the fish keeper, and welcome to Equatic. So today I'm going to be talking about fish that aren't really meant for the beginner. Let's get into it. So the first fish that I really stress not getting is a red-tailed catfish. Now you go to a fish store and normally you'll probably see a red-tailed catfish. They're not that big when they're in the pet store, about 6 inches. So you think, oh yeah, I could probably put one of those in my 20-gallon, it would be fine. But those fish get up to 4 feet long and 300 pounds. Now that in your 20-gallon tank, well, it wouldn't really be in your 20-gallon tank. It would be on the floor next to it. So you can see why that fish would not be meant for the beginner. Now the next fish that I would stress not getting is Bala sharks. Now Bala sharks look really cool. They can be kept in community tanks, planted tanks, and even more. But when you see them at the pet store, they're tiny. They're about 3 inches. So you think, oh yeah, I could definitely put one of those in my tank. But those guys need a minimum aquarium of 55 gallons. And even that's pushing it. I would recommend 75 gallons. They get up to 12 inches. So they might not be the best choice for a beginner. Now the next fish I would recommend not going with is goldfish. Now when you think of goldfish, you might think of little fish that you put in a bowl or small fish that you can put in a 10-gallon aquarium. But goldfish actually get pretty big. When I mean big, I mean 8 inches. Goldfish look really amazing, so I could see why you would want to get one. However, they produce so much waste and you're going to have to be on your game with your water changes. You're going to at least need a 30-gallon for 2. And if you want 3, 55 minimum. So goldfish, you can actually start with, but you have to be prepared to do a lot of work for them and a pretty big tank. The next fish I'd recommend not going with is an Oscar. Now Oscars are really cool when you see them at the pet store as they're babies. But they get much bigger than that inch that they are at the pet store. So, if you are going to get an Oscar, first you're going to have to know that they produced a whole bunch of waste. And they get up to 12 inches. So you might have been planning to put that 1-inch fish in that 10-gallon tank, but I'm going to tell you right now, that fish is going to need a minimum of 55-gallon aquarium. The common Pleco is easily understandable why someone would want one. First, they clean up algae. Second, they scavenge the bottom for waste. And third, they look pretty cool. But the common Pleco can get up to 2 feet long. Now the reason people would buy them in the first place is because at your local pet shop, they're probably about 2-3 inches, and you wouldn't believe that those fish could become monsters. They will dominate your tank if you get one. They will literally explode out of it. So if you are going to get a common Pleco, 200-gallon minimum. But there is an alternative to the common Pleco, which is the bushy nose Pleco. Now with the bushy nose Pleco, you still get the same benefits of it cleaning the algae and scavenging the bottom and even looking cool. But they only get up to 4 or 5 inches, so you could put one of those in your 20-gallon. These are the fish that I recommend straying away from. Now, though you can keep them if you have a big enough tank, I would still recommend as a beginner going with something a little more hardy and a little easier. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.